We're at the movies with Matt and Ryan.
Don't yell.
Trespass Against Us.
Ryan is off. He's on a mood today, guys. I'm just gonna warn you.
I'm
before
not in a
the review.
mood.
He's being weird. Things are
being
getting weird at Salem, in room 305.
Salem's great.
All right. Today's review is Trespass Against Us, the indie crime thriller starring Michael Fassbender and Brendan Gleeson. The film it's a crime thriller, but it's also a family drama. You have it's about the Cutler family who are living in the outskirts of London. They kind of have this weird trailer community, but this tight knit group. But they also perform robberies, and after one robbery goes a bit awry, the police are after them, and the Cutler family bonds are kind of put to the test. So I mean, an interesting premise,
I've never seen a bunch of more scumbags or worse scumbags in my life in a movie.
What's your point? Wait, okay, that's
You want to know why? You want to know why?
What?
This movie was terrible. It was absolutely awful. It was one of the worst movies I think I've seen in a few years.
Wow.
How am I supposed to root for any of these characters? They're all scumbags. They cry about the police, they bitch about the police, and they ask them for help? Are you kidding me?
When did they ask him for help?
They were asking for help at one point. Well, they're asking help from, like, when they visited the teacher. I don't want to give too much away, but when they visited the teacher and she was, like, bitching about, or saying, like, the kids are...
She didn't ask help from the cops. I don't know.
Yeah, she did. She did.
This isn't very...
At the end, she did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say why. I thought... Okay, Ryan apparently hated this movie. I thought it was very mediocre. It definitely has some ambition, but it really doesn't live up to that ambition, partially because it's really a movie about style over substance.
Yeah.
And, the style here really isn't that interesting. Director Adam Smith, he doesn't have a distinct voice behind the camera. And that kind of, it makes the story feel less important or less interesting. And the substance, I mean, you have Michael Fassbender and Brendan Gleeson, two very, very good actors. And the potential is there to have this really interesting father-son relationship, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't go very interesting.
There's a theme. There's a theme of this movie. Nothing went anywhere.
Well,
there was a point where it looked like they were going to a dramatic route, and maybe you do care about Fassbender's character, but that went nowhere by the end, and it just ended up being them running from the police like a bunch of idiots.
Don't spoil, but
it's not spoiling.
I think your complaint about the characters being unlikable. I mean, not every movie needs likable characters.
I'm not saying that, Matt.
Yeah, but the
plot didn't go anywhere either.
No, please don't interrupt. But you were saying these characters are very unlikable. But you don't need every character to be likable in a movie. Even all the characters can be unlikable. The thing is if they're interesting and well developed. Now, one of the things one of the things I'm not a big fan of this movie either, but I'm just saying. One of the things I liked about the movie is its unique sense of place. I kind of like this little weird trailer community. It had some interesting vibes. And like I said, you have great actors like Fassbender, Brendan Gleeson, and a pretty talented English-based supporting cast. And I think the action scenes were pretty, decent for the... It seems like a... Yeah, well, it's a lower budget movie, so you don't expect anything great, but...
But there was no goal to this movie. There was no, the ending was stupid. There was, like I said, there was points where you thought it might go somewhere pretty genuine, and it just never did, and it was just kind of disappointing throughout.
I feel like this whole movie teased at something with the father-son dynamic, and just it kind of just didn't go anywhere. I think that's the thrust of the movie, this... Chad Cutler, Fassbender's character, he's really looking out for his family and trying to provide what's best for them. But he constantly has the presence of his father, Brendan Gleeson, in his way, and he's trying to shake that presence. But it doesn't go anywhere. The conflict just kind of ends between the two of them, and then the movie kind of results for this very lame duck ending that it just doesn't work dramatically or emotionally because it goes nowhere. It just goes off the fucking deep end,
I don't know about your thing about every movie doesn't need a likable character. I understand that, but I think in most movies, there's at least someone that you can root for, even if they're not that likable.
Well,
like, I couldn't root for any of these people.
I think Fassbender's character was admirable
because he had a plan, but that plan never was executed in the movie.
I know, but
it just never makes sense to me.
Well, no, he that's not the character's fault. That is the.
I know,
but I think he was an admirable character because in his heart of hearts, he's looking out for the best of his family. I also like the whole family, how they all have the same kind of personality. These vulgar kind of outcasts, and they never change. And I think that's genuine. I think that's something that I like, that the movie didn't make these characters change in a dramatic way from start to finish. Yeah. Although I wish the story took these characters in some more interesting directions than it ultimately goes in.
Or any part of the movie.
I don't get why you hated this movie.
What do you mean? Because it was boring. It was just kind of it was almost like an endurance. Like wait, when is this gonna end? Because it was an hour and a half, and it was kind of a brutal hour and a half.
Why do you find it so boring? I'm just curious.
Because Matt, like I said, the plot was severely underdeveloped. They weren't going anywhere.
Okay, but a movie like
at the beginning part, the way they ended it was just like how the whole movie has been. Like there was no ending. Like there was just like
that's a nice scene. They have a nice scene with Fassbender and his son.
I just don't get these relationships, like with the police, and it just didn't make sense to me. And then they're asking for help.
I don't get how you say this is super undeveloped and then give Live by Night and a 7.5 out of 10 or whatever. But
Live by Night,
it wasn't that developed though. It was very basic.
It had layers.
It did not have layers. But
it did.
I think you're being too harsh. I mean,
I know I'm not. It was a tough watch.
All right. Well, I think most people find this a pretty modest movie. It has some lofty ambitions, but it doesn't reach them. I mean, I think it's hard to make a terrible movie when you have great actors in it. And
that's the only reason why this movie got anywhere, was because of Fassbender. If they didn't cast
I think Brendan Gleeson was equally good. Brendan Gleeson's just as good of an actor, maybe better. He has a fantastic history.
There's no way they would have gotten this off the ground if it wasn't for both of them.
Well, obviously, but I don't know. A24 produced it. It's a movie they kind of just picked up. They do this a lot. They did this in 2014 with Son of a Gun, which starred Ian McGregor. And that movie is actually really good. They pick up these kind of English, Aussie type thrillers. They kind of release them through VOD in January, and it's up to the star power to make it a success. Yeah. And so it's a good move by them to get something like this. But it doesn't quite work. I think I don't know. I didn't hate it. I definitely think it has some admirable qualities to it, and it has a bit of a charm, I think you could say. But clearly, Ryan, I don't get why you hate it. I still don't. You said it was boring.
I told you why I hate it. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it kind of annoyed me, Matt. Their relationship with the police annoyed the shit out of me.
That seems like a very minor point in the movie.
No, it's not.
Though.
No, it's not, because that's the whole point of the movie, Matt.
I think
they're outlaws. That's the point. Well, they're trying to get away from that. And Fassbender, Matt, is trying to. He's trying to.
Hey, don't yell in my ear.
He's trying to.
Jesus Christ. But I think.
No, listen to me. He's trying to make everything good for his family, but that goes nowhere in the movie. That plot point, and that's the
and my opinion, what does that have to do with the cops? Your main complaint about the movie is the cops.
That's another complaint. This is another. I'm talking about
the movie. I think the heart and soul of the movie is about family dynamics. It's not about the fucking cops. That's just a side point. I don't know why you bring that up for the reason this movie sucks.
The family dynamic never went anywhere, man.
I know, but that's not.
That's a huge. If that's the main goal of this movie, then they did not develop that well at all, because there was no nice ending. There was nothing to it.
What I think there's. I mean,
like you
feel
they got rid of it.
You feel Gleason's presence constantly over Fassbender. I think
he was good. I think he
part of the acting is good enough where you do feel kind of where they're going. You feel, this father constantly having, putting himself over his son and kind of controlling his life and controlling this whole community's life. And I think that's interesting. Is it as deep or as impactful as it could have been? Heck no, but it's at least it has the core concept is strong. But let's just get into ratings. I don't think this debate's going anywhere. So I'll give it a 5 out of 10. If you rent it, I don't think you'll hate it. If it's on Netflix, watch it at nighttime or something. But a 5 out of 10.
2 out of 10.
Wow, you gave Collateral Beauty a 4, and you give this a 2.
Yes, at least Cloud Beauty was like kind of funny, and it was
Yeah,
like,
but
it was kind of interesting.
This
This was not interesting.
This is why you're wrong, because Collateral Beauty is not a movie.
Opinions can be wrong.
No, Collateral Beauty is a movie that's not trying to be funny, though.
I know it's not, but I was a little more entertaining.
You're not. All right. That's our review for Trespassing.
Whoa, you're just gonna end it there?
Yeah, because I don't want to rant.
Rant?
Because I think rating movies should be about their quality and their artistic merit, not your entertainment factor. That's just.
I think that was a little bit more artistic. I think they were trying to get somewhere.
Yeah,
with that.
they failed even more than this movie did. You can't. You can't even compare the dialogue in this movie.
The script wasn't that good either in this movie.
It wasn't that good, but at least it was competent. It wasn't like Collateral Beauty where they're saying "I am love" and saying the most insane, inept lines possible, and wasting an even bigger and more talented cast. That movie is just a fucking train wreck.
Oh my god.
All right, well that's our review for Trespass Against Us. Hope you enjoy.
Not great.
Please comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Subscribers.